All right, my talk today is walking the walk. Walking the walk. We are here to embody our higher nature. We are here to demonstrate the good into our lives. We're here to demonstrate and show how to call forth goodness and love and joy, and because that's how we create heaven on earth, right? So we're here to show that, to demonstrate all that, to embody our Christ consciousness and call forth the gifts of our centered self. Creativity, confidence, courage, just peace, understanding, compassion. There's so much for us to call forth. But you know, gathering the spiritual tools and gathering information is not enough. That used to be my way of doing things. I thought if I just read one more book, right, then I'd be done. Or take one more workshop, buy one more crystal, although I still kind of think that's true. Right? But see, we gather all the spiritual information, we gather the spiritual tools, and then we put them to work. We use them in our lives. Now here at Unity, we talk about the 5 principles a lot. Now the 5 principles are not special just to Unity churches, although how we package them up is pretty nice. But they're just wisdom teachings from the ages, from all over. You can find these teachings in the Old Testament and the New Testament, and Buddhism and Hinduism. They're Native American tradition, so they're everywhere. But the basic gist of our principles is this. God is all things. That's the first principle. God is all things. That includes everything. There's not one thing you could point at that is not from God. Everything comes from God, everything came from God, and everything that is yet to be is part of the creative substance that is God, and it will eventually manifest into our lives. Even ideas and inspirations and our dreams, all of that comes from the unknown, comes from spirit. So the second principle then is, well, if God is all things, that means me, because we are not left out of this. Right, so we are also an expression of God in this world. We are the physical activity of spirit in this world. Then our third principle is I co-create with God. But what that really means is I create my experiences through my way of thinking and acting. Well, this really does make a big difference. I look back over this last year, and we all treated the experience, and we all treated the pandemic differently. We based it on our belief system as how we chose to move through it, right? So we used the free time to do other things, right? Or maybe we worried. I kind of just did everything, right? I worried and then I used my free time. Well, I didn't really have free time. But you can put a victim and somebody who has a really high level of faith both into the same situation. But they're going to choose, based on their belief system, how they move through the situation. Now, somebody who's already in victim consciousness will tend to make decisions and their choices based in fear, and they may continue to feel victimized through the condition. But somebody who has a very deep level of faith, they're going to choose, even though it may be scary, they may choose to do something because they trust what's working through them. So they will have a completely different experience, even though they were in the same situation. Then we have our fourth principle, which is by communing with God, by aligning with the divine within us, that's how we call forth solutions. And we're honoring the inner being that's working through us. There's a greater part of us. Here you see each of us here, but the greater part of us is in the non-physical realm. You can't see us. You can't see all of us. You see our physical expression here. But we're a soul that's emanating from the God source, and we're using this body right here and right now. So we use affirmative prayer to pray with God instead of praying to God. Because praying to God implies, well, he must be over there. I'm just going to make a call. Right? So we're praying with that being that's within us, the indwelling spirit, the Holy Spirit, you call it that. Now these first 4 principles that we do, they're about shifting our consciousness. They're about helping us to change how we're thinking and acting in the world so that we can move from ego-based living into soul-based living. Now I really like in the Unity teachings, when we're talking with children about this, we call the ego the little me And then we call the, like, our soul, or, you know, the higher being, we call that the great me. And I love to watch a 3-year-old walk around and talk about that, right? The little me and the great me. But see, when we're living from the little me, or our ego, our life tends to be where we're just making choices, where we're seeking pleasure, or we're seeking to avoid pain. We also seek power. We seek power because we don't feel it within us. And so we seek power by getting other people to approve of us and to accept us. Because, you know, when we get a lot of approval and acceptance, then we can feel good about ourselves. But if they don't approve of us or accept us, we can do this other thing. We can manipulate them and trick them into giving us some power, right? We can gossip, right? And that gets the attention on us then. Now, so the choices we make from an ego perspective, they don't honor our divine nature or the divine nature in other people. And we tend to move into polarized thinking, which is extreme thinking. And you know, extremism or fundamentalism, it's not just in religions and politics. It can be like in the way that we parent. It can be in like our food choices. Like we can get crazy extreme in a lot of things, Now, when we're moving from ego choices, ego living, into soul-based living, we become service-oriented. Like we want to bring good out into the world. And service is not servitude. Servitude is, oh, I resent that I have to do this. That's ego-based living, right? That's how the ego is of service, resentfully, you know, and angrily. But when we're in service to our soul, and then we want to be of service into our community, we also move into something called wholeness thinking. Wholeness thinking is all are one. Now, when we're in our ego, that is an inconvenient truth, because I know when I'm in my ego, I'm going to look around and be mad at somebody, and they're not being a very good example of spirit in the body. I'm pointing my finger, right? That's extremism thinking too. That's also polarized thinking. When we're in holism thinking, we cannot also be in polarized thinking. So in holism thinking, we just have compassion for everybody, or at least understanding. So if somebody does something, we can acknowledge they're a difficult person. Maybe we don't like being around them, but we still acknowledge they're a spark of the divinity on this planet walking around just like everybody else. Maybe we don't like their behavior, and maybe we have to just move out of the state. Okay? But anyway, we can still be in wholeness thinking. Our choices will honor our divine nature, and our choices will honor the divine in other people. And our way of service turns into us being a rising tide, right? You know, the rising tide lifts all the boats. Well, the good we do, it's not just for us, we're doing it for everybody, so we can all rise together. We also have our power from within. We don't have to seek it from outside of ourselves. It's already, we go here when we need power. We walk in faith. We remember, oh, I'm here to walk by faith, not by sight. And when we walk by faith, this puts us in our soul esteem, where we remember, I am always enough. I am enough. But if we're in our ego, that doesn't work. It's like, well, I'll be enough if I could just do this one more thing. If I could read this one more book, lose that next 5 pounds, then I'd be okay. But when we're in service to our soul, when we're letting our soul drive our bus, we know we're enough already. Like right here and right now, it's perfect. We are enough, and we are capable of calling forth through us anything we could possibly need. We'll be guided, we'll be directed. So, ideally, of course, we would like to all be living in soul-based living, calling forth the gifts of our higher self and the gifts of God. And so we're using the first 4 principles, and we're checking in all the time with those principles. We check in all the time with those. Especially when we are not feeling very spiritual. When you feel really spiritual, like right here and right now, I feel like super spiritual, right? I feel like a Unity gangster. Like it's just so good to be here, right? But I had this incident happen. If you read our newsletter, you already know the story. But I was here a couple of weeks ago, and I was having an amazing day. It was an amazing day. Like, I felt like I was literally walking on sunshine, because I go and walk around the parking lot every so often. Well, I'm sitting in my office, and I see this blue van pull up, and it's got blue stripes on it, and it's one of the kind of vans that you probably travel in. Like, it looks like it has a bed and a fridge and stuff in it, right? Well, they pulled to the back of our parking lot next to the community garden, and, you know, people come in here because they work in the garden. I don't recognize every car, so I'm just like, okay, it's probably one of our gardeners, I don't know. I kind of think somebody has a van, so. And then they pull out, and I go out into the parking lot, and they've left a pile of trash out by the community garden. And I was kind of pissed. Like, I was mad. I was actually grumbling and stomping my feet. And what I do, like, because I'm angry, I stomp to the edge of the parking lot, and I look at all the trash, and I'm like, look at all this trash. And I start carrying it over to our trash cans, and I'm like, we have trash cans here. He could have just put this in the trash can, right? And I'm walking back and forth across the parking lot, and then I realized I could have rolled the can, like, over there, but I didn't think about it because I was too busy fuming. Our cans, they all have wheels. I could have just trucked it on over there and filled it up, but I was really mad. I was really mad. And so I did hit a point where I was like, oh, I'm really mad. I don't want to keep feeling this way. I was having a great day until this guy came along and ruined it. I mean, I was really thinking that. But then part of me was like, yeah, hello, you pick up trash in the parking lot all the time. I mean, there are always people leaving trash out there. You never have gotten mad before. I mean, not like this. And I was like, okay. So I decided I was going to check it through the filter of the first 4 principles, right? See, the 5th principle, am I walking the walk? Am I doing such a great job here? So the first principle, God is all things. Was I affirming divine intelligence in this situation? No, I wasn't. I was thinking all about that guy who he was being all entitled and being a litter bug, and he needed to get his just desserts, and I hoped he rolled over a nail when he left here, and okay, so that's where I was. Okay, so then I was like, okay, oh, I didn't hit that one. The second one, God is all things, that means me. Did I remember my own divinity in that moment, and the divinity of everybody else? I was like, well, I was remembering how super spiritual I am, and how that guy is just a big disappointment to the universe. So I was like, okay, no, I didn't do so good on step 2. Step 3, I create my experience through my way of thinking and acting. So did I take responsibility for my response to that situation, right? I was like, no. I was reacting. I was feeling really offended and wishing for a big, huge nail to flatten his tire. Okay, so then, did I commune with God? Did I align myself with my inner being? No. And that was the problem. The problem was not a litter bug in our parking lot. The problem was not that I had to carry trash into the trash can. The problem was not that I was offended and pissed off, stomping around here. The problem was I was not connected to that force that put the universe into its existence and put the galaxies into their spin and inspires the bud to blossom. I was not aligned with that force. So I went there first. I'm like, okay, I don't want to keep being mad. So I went here, like I did our heart math breathing, our coherence, with the heart-brain coherence breathing. And you just put your hand on your heart and you just slow your breathing down and you think of something happy. That's all. And then your brain, it kind of shuts off. It's wigging out mode, and it's like, okay, you're not being chased by bears anymore. You can just calm down. So I did that. And then I did my casting the burdens. And, Unity, we say denials, affirmations. Denials, affirmations. So I did my denial was to deny a condition could have power over me. I was like, I am really pissed. I'm pissed at this guy. He was so thoughtless, and part of me just wants him to have justice. But I know that there's something greater at work through me. I can call forth love. I can do that. I can continue having a beautiful day, because I was already having a beautiful day, and that was all on me also. So I could do that. Then I asked a question. How could I see this differently? How could I look at this situation differently and call forth love, call forth compassion, call forth forgiveness for myself? Okay, so I started with the 4th principle, and then I went back to the first one. God is all things, and that means me. I'm like, okay, I can do this. That guy, he's physical activity of the divine in this world, just like everybody else. Just like the most loving person that I know. Right? And so, okay, I can do that. The second principle, God is all things, so that means me and everybody else. Am I remembering that? I said, okay, we're both of us. We're physical activity of the divine in this world. And yeah, maybe his behavior wasn't the highest light of behaviors, but neither was mine. So then, I create my experience through my way of thinking and acting. Okay, can I take responsibility for how I'm experiencing this event? Can I? I'm like, okay, yeah, I can. There's nothing I can do about that guy. He might be littering at some of the parking lot right now. I mean, who knows, right? Nothing I can do about that guy. But I can choose how I'm going to respond. I can choose how I'm going to behave in this. And I can hold a loving energy instead of spewing, ugly mojo at our beautiful church. I mean, because I was here when I was that mad. It's like, no, I only want to bring good mojo in here. Okay, and so then I was back to being aligned, okay, with the indwelling spirit. So you can see, I usually realize I'm not doing so good at 1, 2, and 3. And so then at 4, align with spirit. That's where I will start. Okay, I'm aligning with spirit. And then I go back and see how I can do 1, 2, and 3. All we really, really want in this world is to demonstrate good in our lives for ourselves, for the people we love, for the people we maybe we're just meeting, for people we don't even know, because then maybe they'll take that and run with it too. Like, hey, if this person demonstrated good, anybody can do this stuff. Now, doing these 5 principles, that's all it takes. That is all it takes, is just practicing it. Just practicing it. Everybody here today drove a car. And think about how well you drove that car today compared to the first time you got behind the wheel. I'm so glad I didn't have to learn to drive when we had iPods and all that stuff. That would have been a lot of distractions. But yeah, if you wanted to become a violin player, if you wanted to run a 5-mile marathon, if you wanted to become a chef and create really interesting meals for your friends, all you have to do is just start practicing it. Eventually, pretty soon you're playing the violin. Pretty soon you're running that marathon. Pretty soon you're cooking some interesting foods for your friends. Practice always leads to the demonstration of whatever we've been practicing. Now, any action that feels forced or impulsive, or if we've gotten highly emotional, like charged emotionally, that usually means we aren't walking the walk. Okay, and I was really highly charged that day. The litter bug came to Unity, right? So we just want to keep practicing these principles. And remember, when we're feeling all that, when we're feeling impulsive and emotionally charged and doing something that feels forced, what usually happens is we've got our ego telling us, trying to align with God is irrational. The guy who littered in your parking lot, he should get punished, right? You need to have justice. That's the only way you're going to feel better. See, that's what our ego is always trying to get for us. Justice, fairness. So it's rational. And it does make sense. Like, yeah, he should get his comeuppance. But when we are aligned here and we're calling forth the good through us, the good we do, will not always make rational sense. Forgiving somebody for dumping trash in your yard, it wouldn't make sense to forgive them, but it is what makes sense for your soul. It is what makes sense for you to feel better and to be able to continue to call forth the good into your life. What we are doing is we are integrating these principles and our divine essence into our ordinary reality, our everyday kind of day that has pain and suffering and struggle and confusion, annoying people that we may have to deal with, right? That's kind of our everyday. And so these principles help us to call forth the divine into all of these situations and conditions. So practicing this and walking the walk, it is powerful. It is powerful, and it causes empowerment from within. You cannot go and buy a trinket that will give you empowerment. I mean, it might work for a little while. Like when I got that new purse. Like I felt really, really good. But true empowerment comes from within us, and we only get truly empowered by practicing seeing God as everywhere present, remembering everybody else is all that too. So are we, so are our ideas. We create our experiences through our choices, right? Our way of thinking and acting. And so, yeah, we're calling forth more of the divine through us. So recently I had a young lady ask me, she wanted to find out about her purpose. And she said, this is exactly what she said. Is there something I can do besides pray about it? And I was like, wow, I can remember saying something very, very similar to that once upon a time. Oh, please, I don't want to just pray. I want to do something. I want to do something. But prayer, like aligning here, that's what makes all of this possible. Right? That is what makes everything that we want to do, that we dream of, it's what makes it possible going here and aligning with Spirit, right? To actually live the truth that with God, all things are possible. So it's the key to our empowerment because we are recognizing God is all things, that means me, and then we get to create our experiences through our choices, through our way of thinking and acting. That's how we call forth solutions, is we're remembering God is all things first. Can't focus on a problem and get a solution for that. We have to focus on how there's this presence that is filled with divine intelligence working through all things. That includes us, that includes other people, that includes conversations we may overhear. And we do all of that by aligning with the divine within us. So whatever it is that you are struggling with, anything you are struggling with, if it's financial lack, if it's relationship problems, if it's health issues, if it's feeling loss or pain or suffering, if it's feeling confusion, if it's feeling hatred or polarized thinking or being scared, we run it through this filter. Okay, God is all things. Am I affirming divine intelligence in this situation? Am I seeing God as everywhere present? Or am I focused on the problem? Am I focused on the condition? Am I focused on what I don't like and how that thing needs to change before I can be happy? Okay, the second principle, and that means me. Am I remembering my own divine nature and the divinity within all other people? Or am I blaming them? Am I making them wrong? And if they would just change, then I could be happy. Okay, I create my experiences through my way of thinking and acting. Am I taking responsibility for how I'm showing up? Am I doing my very best? Right, doing my best with what I've got right now? Or am I getting triggered and reacting to all that and thinking if that would just never have happened, then I could be happy? Okay, have I aligned myself with God within, with my inner being, and am I acting on that guidance? Or am I busy planning out my revenge? Okay, that's the filter right there. In fact, I even printed up copies of that in the back. You can pick one up on your way out. And we are here to embody our higher nature. The demonstration of good in our lives strengthens our faith, and we just keep thinking, oh, yeah, this is what I'm designed for. I'm going to keep calling forth the good, keep calling forth God into my life, living through my Christ consciousness. And you know, when we do all of these steps, and we're constantly running everything we do through the filter of these steps, we create kind of this little bubble of like happiness, where it's harder then for the negative things to get through to us. It's like we put up a force field. Okay, so I do have an affirmation for us today. Centered in God, all things are possible. See, we center here first. We go here first. Now, with God, all things are always possible, but we don't always make it easy when we're mad or we're focused and frustrated on stuff out there and want everything out there to change. We've got to go here first. We've got to go here first, centering God first, and then all things are possible. So let's say that together. Centered in God, all things are possible. Now, walking the walk is really a very big deal because it's how we become empowered. It's how we grow a bigger faith in our lives. When we have bigger faith, we tell a better story about ourselves. We tell a better story about what can be created through us and through everybody. I don't know, I bet you never thought it could be that simple. But we found a way, we found a way. I know, I never thought it could be that simple, but it is, it really is. It just takes practice, just takes practice. So heaven is always working through us. It's not supposed to be complicated. And that's a big reason why a lot of people think, you know, I never get any information from the divine. I don't receive guidance. It's because none of it's complicated. And we're looking for something complex that lays out a life plan ahead of us, right? We want the burning bush type sign, when so often guidance is, yeah, go ahead, go. No, don't do that. Yeah, that feels good, do it, right? Heaven's advice and guidance is simple. So over this next week, let's play with this, right? Where two or more are gathered, even like in spirit. Let's have some fun with this and use it on the big stuff in your life, but also use it on the small stuff, right? Because this is where you get ideas and solutions for anything you want an idea or a solution for, right? And you know what? I do use this on small stuff because I've gotten some very interesting ideas, and it wasn't the idea that I wanted, but when I received it, I thought, okay, yeah, all right, I'll work with that. So see, it opens us up to be surprised and delighted by what can come through us, all right? So use it on the little stuff too. You can ask, like, how can I live my purpose? What can I do right now? How could I see the situation differently? What would it look like if I were truly in wholeness thinking? How could I be in wholeness thinking just for today? How can I bring more light into the world, more kindness, more compassion, more understanding? How could I bring more of all that good stuff into the world? Because that's how we are creating heaven on earth. So until next time, remember, you are the activity of spirit in this world. You are the hands and the heart of God in this world. You are divinely designed to be doing all of these things. You are divinely designed to be able to do anything that you could dream of and call forth the forces that put the galaxies into their spin. In everything you do, you are blessed, and so it is.